All right, let's dive in. Today, we're exploring a country that's often shrouded in mystery and misconception, Colombia.
Yeah, most people, when they think of Colombia, they think of, well, football or maybe Escobar.
Right, or those incredible Amazonian rainforests.
Exactly.
But trust me, there's so much more to Colombia than just the headlines.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a hidden gem. You see these flashes of brilliance, like the vibrant culture, those stunning landscapes, the warmth of the people. But there's so much more beneath the surface.
Yeah, it's like there are these layers of history and culture just waiting to be uncovered.
Exactly.
And that's what we're here for today, to uncover those unseen destinations, the stories that go beyond that, typical tourist experience.
Right, like a deeper dive.
Exactly, a deep dive into the real Colombia, a Colombia full of surprises.
And, it's fascinating how certain figures like Pablo Escobar have cast such a long shadow on the country's image.
It really makes you wonder how a country kind of moves forward from that. How do they reclaim their narrative?
It's like trying to rewrite a story that's already been told, but Colombia is really pushing back, showcasing its incredible diversity.
And we're not just talking about the landscapes, but the people, the traditions, the sheer size of the place.
It's massive.
Did you know that it's actually the fourth largest country in South America?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling when you think about it. It means there are so many regions and experiences there that are completely off the beaten path.
Speaking of off the beaten path, let's talk about Medellin.
Oh, Medellin.
A city that's undergone this incredible transformation. I mean, just 30 years ago, it was considered one of the most dangerous cities in the world. And now
it's a thriving tourist destination.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's a real phoenix rising from the ashes story, and you can really see that transformation reflected in the city's architecture. Medellin is full of high-rises. It's a testament to its dense population.
Wow.
Imagine squeezing 3 million people into a relatively compact urban area.
It's almost like a concrete jungle.
It is, but with a vibrant twist. Medellin also has this incredible street art scene. It's like the city is reclaiming its walls, expressing itself through these bold, colorful murals.
It's a form of visual storytelling. It's pushing back against the darkness of the past and painting a new narrative for the future.
Yeah, and speaking of the past, there's this peculiar phenomenon. Pablo Escobar's tomb has become a tourist attraction.
Really?
It's like it's kind of a morbid curiosity, isn't it?
It is. It makes you think about these complex legacies and the shadows that they cast. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a little more practical, your money.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
In Colombia, your travel dollars go a long way. The Colombian peso is relatively weak, which means incredible value for travelers.
You can have delicious meals for just a few dollars, luxurious hotels for $30, $35 a night.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a budget traveler's dream.
It is. But it also makes you think about the economic realities for Colombians, right? While tourists benefit from that low peso, the average income in cities like Medellin and Bogotá is around $300 a month. It's quite a stark contrast.
It is, and that economic landscape has kind of fostered this culture of negotiation. It's deeply ingrained in their everyday life, and it's not just haggling in markets. It's about negotiating bus fares, services, pretty much everything.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You might even find yourself negotiating the price of a cup of coffee.
Wow. I guess that makes sense when every peso counts.
Absolutely. And that resourcefulness goes hand in hand with a really strong entrepreneurial spirit. You see it everywhere, from the street vendors hustling in the city centers to the vibrant nightlife scene.
It's like this energy, this drive to make things happen, even in the face of economic challenges.
Definitely. It's a resilience that's both inspiring and a reflection of the realities of a country grappling with a high unemployment rate. People are just constantly finding creative ways to make ends meet.
So we've talked about the urban energy. But Colombia also has this incredible natural diversity. Imagine leaving the bustling city behind and finding yourself immersed in the tranquility of the Amazon rainforest.
Oh, yeah.
Which covers a huge chunk of the country.
It's a complete shift in gears from the concrete jungle to, the literal jungle. And within that jungle, you'll find a whole different side of Colombia. Indigenous communities, unique ecosystems, and abundance of wildlife.
Speaking of different sides of Colombia, our sources kind of touch upon this idea of sexual freedom in the country. It's not something you often hear about, but it seems like there's a certain tolerance and openness towards sex work, even from law enforcement.
It's definitely a complex and nuanced issue, and one that reflects those diverse social and economic realities within Colombian society.
Absolutely.
It's important to approach these topics with sensitivity and an open mind, recognize that there are often multiple perspectives at play.
For sure. And let's not forget Colombia's biodiversity. I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
The world's tallest palm tree, a red river colored by, I think, a rare plant, pink dolphins, you name it. Colombia probably has it.
It's incredible.
Oh, and did I mention they have a staggering 58 national parks?
It's a nature lover's paradise.
It is. But it's also a place where tradition runs deep. One example that really stands out is the quinceañera.
Oh, yes.
I've heard about this. It's isn't it some kind of coming-of-age celebration for girls when they turn 15?
Exactly. It's a huge deal in Colombian culture. It's this beautiful blend of symbolism and festivity. It marks a young woman's transition into adulthood. There are elaborate ceremonies, special dresses, and of course, lots of dancing.
Yeah.
One of the most important dances is the vals, where the girl dances with 15 men, including her father. It's really touching, really emphasizes family ties.
That sounds beautiful.
It is.
It's amazing how these ancient traditions kind of coexist with modern life.
Yeah.
It's like a reminder that beneath the surface, there's this deep sense of history and culture that really shapes Colombian society.
Absolutely. And speaking of dancing, you can't talk about Colombia without mentioning that passionate Latin dance culture.
Of course not.
It's everywhere, from salsa to cumbia to vallenato. Colombians have rhythm in their souls.
They do?
You can just feel that warmth and energy in every step, every beat. It's contagious.
All right, get ready for this, because we're about to take you to a truly hidden gem. Picture a small, isolated island community living completely independently off the coast of Colombia.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Like their own little world?
Exactly. They generate their own electricity, they fish for sustenance, and they even, somehow, have internet access, despite being miles from the mainland.
That's incredible. It really makes you wonder what life is like in such a secluded and unique environment. What are their values? How do they view the world? It's just a fascinating glimpse into a completely different way of life.
And here's the catch. Access is extremely limited. You can only stay for a maximum of 10 days, and there's only one hotel on the entire island. Talk about exclusive.
It's like stepping back in time,
Yeah.
disconnecting from the modern world and experiencing a simpler way of life.
It's tempting, isn't it?
It is.
So what have we learned about Colombia so far? It's definitely a country that, it defies easy categorization.
It really does. Yeah. It's like you're trying to solve this puzzle, but all the pieces are like different shapes and colors. You've got this vibrant modern energy in the cities, these echoes of a troubled past, and then this pristine natural beauty that just kind of takes your breath away.
Yeah, and let's not forget those deep-rooted traditions like the quinceañera.
Right.
They add another layer of complexity. It's a country where ancient and modern worlds really collide.
Exactly. It's a place where you can find yourself bartering for coffee 1 minute and then hiking through a cloud forest the next.
It really does sound like Colombia has something for everyone. But it doesn't shy away from its challenges either.
No, not at all. That's what makes it so fascinating. It's not just a tourist destination. It's a living, breathing country with a rich history and this complex social fabric.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about the economic disparities, the legacies of conflict, and even these issues surrounding sexual freedom. These are things you just can't ignore if you really want to understand Colombia.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. Each layer reveals something new, something unexpected.
Yeah, and sometimes those layers can be a bit pungent, right? But they're all part of what makes Colombia so unique.
It's like they say, you can't have the sweet without the sour. But let's be honest, there's a lot of sweetness to Colombia. From that vibrant street art scene in Medellín to those passionate rhythms of Latin dance, the stunning biodiversity of the Amazon, there's unique cultural traditions that bind communities together. Colombia offers this, truly captivating experience.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that travel is about more than just ticking off destinations on a list. It's about, immersing yourself in a different culture, challenging those preconceptions, embracing the richness and complexity of the world around us.
It's about getting out of your comfort zone, opening yourself up to new experiences, even if they're, a little bit messy or challenging.
Exactly. And sometimes those messy, challenging experiences are the ones that teach us the most. The ones that stay with us long after we've returned home.
That's so true. And sometimes those most unseen destinations are the ones that surprise us the most. So the next time you hear the name Colombia, just remember, there's always more to the story, always more to discover beneath the surface.
It's a country that will challenge you, inspire you, and leave you wanting more.
And speaking of wanting more, we've only just scratched the surface of Colombia. There's still so much to explore.
That's the beauty of a deep dive, right? It's just the beginning of a journey.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Colombia, I think it's worth considering a final thought. What's the impact of tourism on a country like Colombia?
It's a question every traveler should ask themselves.
Yeah.
Tourism can be a powerful force for good, but it can also have these unintended consequences.
You mean beyond those obvious economic benefits?
Exactly. Tourism can bring much-needed revenue and exposure, helping to boost those local economies and change perceptions, but it can also lead to exploitation, cultural commodification, environmental damage, especially if it's not managed responsibly.
So what does this all mean for us as travelers?
It means we have a responsibility to be conscious and informed tourists.
Yeah.
To go beyond the superficial, engage with the local culture, support businesses that operate ethically, and of course try to minimize our environmental footprint.
It's about seeing Colombia not just as a destination, but as this living, breathing country with its own unique challenges and triumphs.
Exactly. And perhaps this deep dive into Colombia has inspired you to seek out your own unseen destinations.
I hope so.
Places that challenge your preconceived notions and just expand your understanding of the world. Places that remind you that there's always more to learn, always more to discover, just beyond that familiar horizon.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this part of our deep dives into Colombia. Thanks for joining us on this journey to Colombia. We hope you've come away with a newfound appreciation for this complex and captivating country.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, take only memories, leave only footprints.
Exactly. It's about treading lightly and, respectfully, remembering that our travel choices have a real impact on the places we visit.
Speaking of treading lightly, we can't wrap up this deep dive without revisiting that incredible island community we mentioned earlier. Imagine living on this tiny island off the coast of Colombia, completely self-sufficient.
It's like something out of a dream, right? Generating their own electricity, fishing for their food, and even staying connected to the world through the internet. It really is incredible how they've managed to create this sustainable way of life.
Yeah.
So in tune with nature and their surroundings.
It really makes you question our own dependence on, modern conveniences, doesn't it?
It does.
What if we could, simplify our lives, reduce our impact on the planet, reconnect with the things that truly matter?
It's a powerful message. It makes you realize that even in the 21st century, there are still communities living in ways that, we can learn from.
It's like a glimpse into a different future, one where sustainability and community are really at the forefront.
Yeah, and the fact that access to this island is so limited, only 10 days maximum stay and just one hotel, it makes it even more special.
It's like a hidden treasure, a secret that's only shared with a fortunate few.
Makes you wonder what stories those islanders could tell, what wisdom they hold.
It's a reminder that the most unseen destinations are often the ones that hold, the greatest mysteries, the most profound lessons.
It really is. Well, as we conclude our deep dive into Colombia, I want to encourage you all to keep exploring. Keep seeking out those unseen destinations that, challenge your perspectives and broaden your horizons.
And remember, responsible travel is about more than just choosing eco-friendly hotels and, minimizing our carbon footprint. It's about approaching every destination with a sense of curiosity, respect, and a willingness to learn from the people and cultures we encounter.
Yeah, it's about embracing the unexpected, the messy, the beautiful complexities that make our world so endlessly fascinating.
And who knows? Maybe your next adventure will lead you to a place as, surprising and inspiring as Colombia.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery. Until next time, keep exploring.